Regardless, let's go ahead and close out of those sheets. Now, finally, we have one character less. We've done Cleric, we've done Rogue, we've done Fighter. None of them being traditional, so all that's left is Wizard archetype. So we're looking for a full spellcaster. I am lacking in inspiration for this. I just can't seem to wrap my head around what I wanted to do for this. I didn't want to do Wizard because I've done Wizard so many times. So many times. And I just recently got finished playing with a Psychic. I got finished, and then before that, I finished playing a game as a Psychic. So I'm a little bit psychicked out at this point. Plus, they're a little bit more complicated. Not a huge fan of. I don't really feel like playing them at the moment. So what are other options? Our other options are Bard. Technically, they function as a full caster. Should you build them that way? Witch. I kind of want to avoid Witch because a lot of their hexes are going to be ineffective against undead and other mindless beings that we're likely to run across in tombs. Spiritualists is not what I'm talking about. Shaman is same sort of problem with Witch. So my options are kind of Sorcerer, Bard, or Oracle. Oracle is a bit too close to the Cleric we've already got. Toss that one out as well. Druid, Animal Companion build. We've already got a Hunter going. Toss that one out. So really, Arcanist or Sorcerer or Bard are the three options that it comes down to. Bard can be fun. It's not as good in this specific party. I guess there's a couple of people. The Alchemist and the two melee combatants, the man is, or the lady and her animal companion, can take advantage of the Bard song. The Bard themselves can take advantage of the Bard song should they choose to. But I think in this circumstance, even though I just recently made fun of sorcerers, I am going to pick a sorcerer to play as. Yes, they struggle. Yes, their bloodline, or they just really shouldn't exist in the form they are because, as I said, the biggest problem with them is their bloodline. They get their bloodline spells one level delayed from when they get access to the new tier of magic. So, to get your main spell, you should be casting for the second level spells when you would get that you should be getting at third level. You're instead getting it at fifth level. You're full spell level behind in terms of your main spell. Bonkers, bonkers to my mind. But that's just how it be. So, as for bloodlines, the recommended bloodlines, that is quite bright. Let's go ahead and look through that once more. Where are we? Bloodlines and mystery. People with the destined bloodline and the undead bloodline do make sense. I took a look at the undead bloodline, and actually I was very strongly feeling this one. Some undead are susceptible to your mind-affecting spells. Corporeal undead that were once humanoids are treated as humanoids for the purposes of determining which spells affect them. Very, very cool. A lot of undead are considered to have been once humanoid. Anything that is not like a zombie or skeleton of various very obvious different make are pretty much considered to be humanoids. That means most of your mind-affecting spells will work on undead. Brilliant. What's the problem with that? Well, I've already had two people in this party that are very much anti-undead. Our cleric, who's going to be channeling against them, and our alchemist, who gets bonus damage to bombing them. Okay, that's a little sad. Maybe we hold off. Keep it in the back of our minds, but maybe going undead bloodline might be pushing us a little bit too far into that pool. So, next option, Destined Bloodline. Take a look at Destined Bloodline. Knowledge history. Whenever you cast a spell of personal, you gain a luck bonus equal to the spell's level on your saving throws for 1 round. Or touch a creature, giving you a bonus equal to half your sorcerer level on all attack rolls, skill checks, and saving throws for 1 round. That's quite good. Starting at 3rd level, you get a +1 bonus. You get bonuses during the surprise round. Ninth level, you may reroll any attack roll, crit confirmation roll, or level check made to overcome spell resistance. You must use this after the roll is made, before it is announced. And then you can use that once per day. Again, Taking a look at the spells, they're fine. Freedom of movement being a notable awesome inclusion here. The rest of them just being kind of mid. It doesn't jump out at me. Next thing on the list was technically the Imperious bloodline. Human only is an option. Gives you perform oratory, a couple of decent stuff. The most important being heroism, because where are we here? At third level, whenever you receive a morale bonus from any spell or effect, including those you cast on yourself, that gives a morale bonus, those effects are increased by 1. Ninth level, this ability also applies to competence bonuses. Okay, lo and behold, all of a sudden we've got an idea. There's an idea for this thing. You cast heroism and it gives you extra heroism buffs. Sure. Well, that seems, again, just kind of eh. Maybe this person could also be. That could be. That could also be something. We've talked previously about the family of the Pharaoh bloodline we talked about for our first character, the Asmar cleric. High charisma, not so strong in body. That makes a very similar build would go into building a sorcerer. So in that regard, maybe because Asmars can also come from people who are not from just humans. Maybe for whatever reason that generation just happens to spike the right chromosomes and mutations and whatnot. So technically, a human and an Asmar could be brother and sister or siblings in some regard. Okay. That. So you're also related to the blood of the Pharaoh. That's another thing. Slotted in the back of the mind. You don't have to be the Imperious bloodline for that to make sense, but the other one that I was thinking of, because what was mentioned is our constructs were mentioned, is the Impossible bloodline. It does have a fair amount of stuff based around crafting. You can switch that or have your GM switch it out. Or there's a couple bloodline mutations you can pick, switch out features for you. Effectively for any level of spell, instead of taking your generic feature, you trade it out and take this instead. Most of them are okay. Usually they have more do with dealing damage than anything else, but it's another option for replacement. The main reason I was thinking this is constructs are susceptible to your enchantment compulsion spells as if they were not mind affecting. Constructs are treated as living creatures for the purposes of determining which spells affect them. Oh. Oh, baby. Does that work on all constructs? Does that work on golems? I don't know. Let's do a quick search. Pathfinder, Impossible Bloodline, Golem. Nope, that's not it. Okay, brilliant. No answers to those questions. I assume the answer is going to be still no. Golems inherently have immunity to magic, but there are still a lot of other constructs that would be treated that might be helpful for being treated as living creatures. You do stuff like hold person. Um, Other similar like confusion. There's a lot of cool stuff. The problem is a lot of the rest of this just isn't great. Your bonus spells, I guess confusion's nice. Shrink item can be decent if you're running into mobility issues. Fabricate is usually, I don't ban it, but it's one of those things that is very abusable for infinite money. Or other just generic issues. The rest of this, eh. Okay, we're doing the, okay. I think we're gonna go ahead and go with the Imperious bloodline. Just because I really like the role play of the two players being related. I think brother and sister pair is what we're going to be going with. Well, no, maybe two brothers. That would leave that. I don't know. I don't know. But Imperious bloodline. Let's go ahead and mark that as right click. Keep that in a new tab, and then we go to Sorcerer class details, and we go to where are you? Uh. go a Tase for now for your class. So you're going to be a human, and then you're going to be humanoid, human. I was thinking about doing some sort of different race for this. Maybe like a Ifrit, maybe a halfling, maybe a small race, maybe a gnome. There's a bunch of cool stuff that you could do. However, the Imperious Bloodline does require you to be human, so human it is. Base attack bonus is not great. Go ahead and show more fields here. We are going to, of course, do our stats later once we get everything else done. So, Sorcerer, level 1. This is a D6 hit die, which is not great. Favorite class hit points is going to be 6. We're going to do 1 here. We're going to do Bab of 0.5. And they get good will saves at least, which is not great, and only 2 skill points per level. Again, not great. So, let's go ahead and go over to our skills now. Sorcerers, unfortunately, do not get a whole lot of skills at their disposal. They get Appraise, Bluff, Craft, Fly, Intimidate, now Dracana, Profession, Spellcraft, use Magic Device. Okay. As for what skills I'm thinking about putting on this character, we do get bonus skills for being a human. And I'm probably never going to take anything that is not Sorcerer. So we're looking at the very least, 2 skill points per level, possibly +1. Of note, the human bonus skill is added after the calculation for intelligence. So 2 plus int, assuming if you have an int of like -2s, for example, you bought a 7, you would still have 2 skill point per level because you get minimum 1 from class plus intelligence, and the 1 skill point for being a human. So human is a good way for people to have skill ranks, even if they want to dump their intelligence on low skill classes. So that makes sense. Let's go ahead and jump over to immediately doing a point buy. To this bad boy. Of course, we're going to do Charisma. And we care about Charisma so much, I'm going to be putting 18 points into that. No rounding here, none of that nonsense. 18 it is. I think I am also going to lower this to 8, and this to, at the very least, 8. And maybe do something like this. A little bit less intelligent, a little bit weaker, but the rest of your stats are a little bit higher. Oh, I actually do have a little bit more to spend. We can round up our dexterity in that case to a 14. Makes things nice and easy. Again, min-maxing, you should probably just dump these both down to 7. Get yourself a little bit more constitution while you're at it. But we don't need to. Play a little bit more cautiously. The biggest thing to keep in mind is the difference for characters with 2 skill points per level for their class, between 7 and 8 intelligence, is almost nothing. A penalty to some skills, a slightly lower intelligence for damage and drain, but it doesn't have the huge effect that it normally would. But that will then allow us to immediately go ahead and recalc this, and give us 2 skill ranks plus 2 background. 2 background skills can be anything. Let's pick up a perform skill of some sort. Oratory, dance. Let's see if it has any recommendations in terms of skills. Diplomacy, dungeoneering, history, local. So local knowledge is one we do not currently have between our party. Perception, survival. So no, there is no specific skill that is no perform skill that's recommended. So maybe sing. Singing is always a pleasant thing. Plus, it doesn't require anything special when you're out in the desert. You don't have to carry any tools with you, maybe other than like a tuning fork. As for knowledge, let's go ahead and do 1 rank in linguistics so we can pick up Ancient Osiriani, because you will speak Common, Syrian. Syrian. No vision, no special visions. Homeland is going to be Osirian. No deity, though she may worship Ra as well. I think she's going to be, or he, or she. I've been saying she at this point. Could be, is going to be true neutral. And we are going to favorite class Sorcerer. Base land speed is going to be 30. You are human, and we are not trading out the human bonuses. So we have the bonus feat, and we have skilled as our racial traits. Come on, don't keep fighting me on this. So we have skilled and bonus feat. Not really required on a sorcerer, but fun. Oh, perform oratory is a class skill for me. Oh. So it is. Let's go ahead and make perform oratory our skill then. Go ahead and jump in here. We have refreshing that out of the way. We're going to be of the Imperious bloodline. We then gain access to the feature, or these feats, Bloodline Arcana. Whenever you cast a harm spell, you gain a bonus equal to the spell on Intimidate checks against creatures adversely affected until the end of your next turn. Adversely typically means damage, but can also mean debilitating attacks. Okay, so we have our Bloodline Arcana. Go ahead and do Imperious Bloodline Arcana. Copy paste that, just so we have an easy way to remember that. We have Bloodline Powers. We start off with Student of Humanity. Student of Humanity. Any bonus on diplomacy checks, knowledge history, knowledge local, knowledge nobility, and linguistics. Oh! Makes things simple. Go ahead and check mark all those guys. Diplomacy, history, local nobility, and linguistics. In addition, when using 3 skills to so you gain an insight bonus equal to charisma on when dealing with humans. Specifically, not diplomatizing humans, only gathering information. So we'll gain a +5 for human lore. And then we gain a +5 human gather information. I'll just put GI. Now we'll do gather information, gather info. Okay, that makes sense. That's nice and easy. Which means this actually might be a good candidate for our knowledge local character. However, I think actually it's going to be our bluff and intimidate character. A little bit sad, but that's just how the cookie crumbles sometimes. And then we have one more background skill available at our disposal. I think it is going to be... How's nobility, maybe? Sure. Oh, wait, no, we've already done 2. We've already done linguistics. Okay. Don't have to worry about that then. In which case, we have taken care of all of that. We do need to do spells, we need to do feats, and we need to do traits. Before we go any further, though, let's go ahead and do Bloodline Powers, and we also get the Eschew Materials feat as a bonus feat, which means for for any spells that have a material component that is not, that doesn't have a gold value, we automatically, we don't need those materials. Eschew Materials is at our disposal, and we get nothing until capstones. We'll go ahead and quickly jump over to our spell list. We have access to our first class. It is a charisma focused class. As a prepared, let's switch back to spontaneous. Let's go ahead and recalc. All these things are calcing properly. Spells known is going to be 4-2. To one of our previous characters. And we will know 3 spells per day, plus 2 bonus from our high charisma, so we'll get 5 first level spells per day. A good number of spells, as you can imagine. Okay, so these are our cantrips. One of which is going to be light. Light. Back to magic. I just realized we have no way of identifying magic items at this point in time. Huh. That's a problem for future me to figure out. Light, we're going to do prestidigitation. I spelt that right because I am a god. No, it's just because I happen to remember. And then, of course, for a common spell, we're going to go ahead and grab Acid Splash. In my opinion, this is the best damaging cantrip. It is a real bit of acid because it's a conjuration spell, which gives you no saving throw, no spell resistance. It's a ranged touch attack for a D3 points of acid damage. However, if you are holding an acid flask, using it as a focus component, notably not a material component, a focus component, you kind of channel your magic through that item. You do a D3 plus 1 points of damage instead, which is significant at low level. Then as for our first level spells, we get 2 of those. And we get access to, I mean, it's the full spell list, so it's a doozy of exactly what we're going to be doing. But it is probably going to be some sort of a debilitating spell. Color Spray is a fantastic first level spell. And also a one that is a good qualifier for trading out later. Notably, it is an illusion pattern mind-affecting spell, but doesn't affect mindless undead or vermin. However, anything that is not a mindless undead or vermin, it's effectively a save or die at low level. Things of 2 or less hit dice are knocked unconscious, blinded, and stunned for 2d4 rounds, then blinded and stunned for d4 rounds, then stunned. 3 or 4 hit die, blinded and stunned for d4 rounds, then stunned for d4 rounds. Even creatures that just straight up fail their save, 1 round of stun. So anything with 4 or less hit die effectively just removes them from the combat. They're done. Of course, that's not entirely true, but it's close enough to being true that I'm not too worried about it. Ear-piercing Scream is another spell that I do enjoy. Sonic damage is a damage type that is often not mitigated. Most people things can't resist sonic damage. A couple of things are vulnerable, but few. The target is dazed for 1 round on a failed fortitude save, and it does some admittedly pretty mediocre damage that scales slowly. But plus the 1 round of daze is quite good. The rest of this is exactly what Grease makes it so things fall over. Makes it easier for your melee people to hit it, harder for your ranged people, but just keep that in mind. Magic Missile, Mage Armor, both fantastic spells. But what spell did I pick up already? Color Spray, that's right. I do want some way of doing Protection from Evil, common spell you'd pick up. Shield. I think it's going to be Mage Armor. If for no other reason than, like, the entirety of the party would benefit from a Mage Armor. We're going to have a dex-based character who takes advantage of it. We're going to have both the casters would like a Mage Armor to increase their armor class a little bit. The Animal Companion would like a Mage Armor. That's already 4 people who like Mage Armor. So, yeah, we'll take it. Probably trade out Color Spray later. But for now, it should be, for the next couple of levels, it'll be valuable. Okay, Imperious would normally give us Moment of Greatness. Okay, we don't worry about that. For feats, Improved Initiative is on this list. Persuasive, Magical Aptitude, Endurance, Die Hard. Just okay stuff. So, we get... one thing I will note. For Intimidate, we get bonuses... plus spell level. after hostile spell. Okay. At this point, we have traits and feats. So, I will note, we do not have any traits that require... Or we haven't picked any traits yet. We also don't have any skills that are untrained that I particularly care to get trained. So we have two traits that are perfectly free and open, one of which must be a campaign trait. So, we already took Blood of the Pharaohs, but that honestly, we're family members, a +1 bonus on will saves is not bad. Foreign Opportunist, no. Inquisitive Archaeologist, no. I mean, the rest of these are just bad. I said I might make this person a knowledge local person, but it is unlikely that they're actually going to be the knowledge local person. Probably actually going to be our... We're going to switch over our alchemist to having knowledge local instead of one of their various knowledge checks, which no big deal on that one. Yeah, we'll do Blood of the Pharaoh as well. Maybe Resurrected? No, +1 to will saves is good. Blood of Pharaohs. Oh, there's an extra A I'm missing. Blood of Pharaohs. It looks wrong, but it is right according to my eyes. Okay, +1 bonus on will saves. Very good, because your saves are all going to be quite poopy. As a sorcerer, you then get a +1 bonus on knowledge nobility, and knowledge nobility is a class skill. Might end up taking that eventually after I'm finished with linguistics. Now it doesn't matter. And then we get a second trait. I said I'm not a huge fan of taking reactionary. On this character, I'm going to allow it. There's no other thing that I particularly need. I like Intimidate, I like Bluff, don't really need to increase them. Let's just go ahead and give you Reactionary, which is a +2 trait bonus to Initiative. Eventually we'll take Improved Initiative to make the Initiative really, really high. Now we get 2 feats at our disposal. We get our first level feat, and we get our human bonus feat. One thing we might want to do is start considering what spells we're going to be casting with any regularity. I think we might go... We need spells that are going to affect undead. So mind-affecting spells, we throw those out the window. Evocation spells can be quite decent. Blasting is an option, though it's really kind of not as good as you'd expect unless you're really focused on it. Imperious Bloodline wants us to cast some hostile spells on people. And also gain morale bonuses. If you're triggered by a hostile spell, you... for no harm from... Okay. Oh, we also have demoralized stuff going on for our take your best shot, so yeah. Being good at Intimidate does make sense for us. Cool. It's basically my blood is better than your blood, or my dad was better than your dad. Nah, boo-boo, look at me, I'm better than you. That's neat. So, taking a look at these, we got buff, threefold aspect, not really. Greater command is an offensive spell. Repulsion is different than that. So yeah, nothing here says is dragging me any one direction with my feats. So it's really whatever you want. Toughness, maybe. Improved initiative are all good ones. I'm going to get improved initiative eventually anyway. I could do blasting. I could get more traits. Oh, good. There's just... Nothing's particularly calling out my name. So, once again, I will go to the old guides. Your Sorcerer Guide. I was looking at this one earlier. We go to here. We go to Unlimited Mage Works. We go to the Sorcerer Guide. This is a fantastic document. I've looked at it before. If we go to our section for feats, there are Versatile Spontaneity. Don't really care about that one. Emergency Attunement, again... Let me go ahead and check this one. Emergency attunement. Spellcraft 7 ranks, standard action, altering. Aberrant tumor? No, that just doesn't make sense for what you got, especially because experimental spellcaster, don't want to do that. Leadership, of course, is ridiculous. Expanded arcana. In case you really, really just want to pick it up. Augment calling. Mesmerist. Improved initiative. Noble Scion, Scion of War. That makes sense. Magical trick Fireball. Yes, I've heard of that. Sorcerer, Blood Strike, Spell Focus, Greater Spell Focus. Knowledgeable Spellcaster. Crafting feats we're not doing. Metamagic feats we don't have to worry about. Monster feats could be decent. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to do Noble Scion. Asking, what is Noble Scion? Makes sense, however. Let's go ahead and do Archives of Nethys. This is the Taldor variant. We are specifically going to not worry too much about this. Oh, this is not the one we want. We want Noble Scion. There we go. Feats. Noble Scion. Scion of War. Here we go. The original Noble Scion it must be taken at first level, and you have to have at least a Charisma 13. Brilliant. You get +2 bonus on unknown abilities checks, and that skill is always considered class. Brilliant, doesn't really matter. Work with your GM to make sure that one of these are appropriate. We can do +1 performance checks, doesn't matter. +1 on knowledge checks, doesn't matter. Learn some languages, doesn't matter. Take 10 on wisdom-based skill checks. Treat the result as if you'd rolled a 13 instead. That's actually pretty decent. But most importantly, Scion of War. Use your initiative or your charisma bonus to adjust your initiative instead of your dexterity modifier. Yes, we do have a pretty decent dexterity. However, we don't need feats at the moment. It makes sense for us. We are of the Pharaoh's bloodline. Same with our brother that we built earlier. We are a Scion of War. Maybe Scion of War doesn't make a huge amount of sense. We'll have to work that into our backstory. Assuming these are two separate players, you want to say, hey, I'm thinking about taking Scion of War. I know we were trying to be related in some way. Can you work with me to make our house or our previous character, the character we descended from, in some way related to warfare or war? And then your friend can hopefully go, yeah, that makes sense. I don't have a problem with that. My character is a bit more peace-loving than that and hopes to redeem people. But I have no problem with our family line being in that way. Maybe I'm rebelling against it. Maybe you're rebelling against it. Either way, that all makes sense. Scion of War. This is a pretty common one you'll see in things that are trying to get all your ability scores to focus on one thing. But being a human, Imperious bloodline, all of this related to being in a proud noble house, it also gives us a +2 bonus on our knowledge nobility checks. Trait feat is the third column, +2 bonus there. So I guess this lady, once we take the relevant, or since we've already taken the required linguistics rank, it is going to make sense for us now to invest the rest in knowledge nobility. I guess she cares a little bit more than her brother. It's going to end up being female. For whatever reason, some of these characters just end up female. In my mind, some of them end up male, and I end up referring to them as such. So +7 to initiative is very, very good, as you can imagine. Probably going first in a lot of combats, which is quite decent. The rest of this, as for other feats, temporarily, I think I'm going to do Spell Focus Evocation. None of the others jumped out at me from the list I was given. Focus Evocation. That may be subject to change, just based on how I'm feeling when I end up having to first start playing the character. And usually, as you play these games, I will say, during the first session or two, allow the characters to make minor changes they want to their character. Don't allow them to straight up exchange one character for another unless they either die or something has gone horribly wrong and they don't understand their class properly. But if they want to change like one spell focus for another, change their skill ranks a little bit between sessions. Now that they know, hey, maybe they didn't communicate with the other party members properly. Hey, maybe this campaign is not exactly what I expected. I am usually willing to allow that. Give it a session or two, and then once that happens, everything is locked in. One further thing I will note is for our human, add one spell known from the Sorcerer spell list must be one spell level below the highest spell level you can cast. That is a fantastic alternate racial, because if we take a look at Sorcerers, we are going to be incredibly limited in terms of our spells known. Because even once we hit 6th level, we only have 2 second level spells known. That's ridiculous. So once you hit that, you can start taking up stuff from the level below. I'm not a huge fan. I can usually make do with what I've got, but it's worth considering. And in fact, it's probably one of the best. It's strong. It's worth considering to the point where human is considered one of the best races for this class. I'm perfectly willing to accept a very, very small spell list. If it was any spell, then we'd be talking. But since it's one below your maximum, you're very far off those, or you're not those spells not being useful. But by the time you hit what, like your 6th level to get your 2nd level spells, they're still useful. They're just a lot less impactful at that point. Still, the versatility is quite good. So, that has officially gone ahead and finished us out for our different characters. I think we have, so let's go ahead and do a quick check through. I think we also... Who was it? Agamu is missing one trait. Nope, you got perception. You got your... You're missing, okay. Good old Toreb, you're missing a trait. Quickly, we can go ahead and check. I don't know why that decided it wanted to be the 0-1, but sure. Do you have any skills that you are ranked in that you are not trained in? Yes, history. Also planes. We're going to switch out planes at this level for local. And we're going to make it a class skill and give it +1. Don't know what trait it is, but again, +1, no local, class skill. Some of them exist. Go find the one that seems suitable to you. Other than that, don't worry too much about it. I think with that being said, we now have 4 different characters. I'll fiddle with the names. I might actually keep it similar to these. Agamu, Toreb, Bidra. The animal companion needs a name. We'll figure that out eventually. Atase. But I'm reasonably happy with the party. So we got the actual build is casting cleric, alchemist with a bomb, slightly focused alchemist, melee hunter with animal companion, melee reach hunter with animal companion, with big fatty animal companion, and a sorcerer. Not overly offensive, no particular area of focus yet, but again, that could evolve as time goes on. One other thing we can check real quick is we can check archetypes. None of these are great, I will go ahead and note. Razmir and Priest can be a lot of fun. They could do stuff with, I mean, admittedly, they are from a really crappy section of the world, and they worship a person who pretends to be a god. Don't worry too much about that. A lot of these are going to trade out your bloodline spells and powers. A tattooed sorcerer can be a lot of fun because if they don't trade away your specific good stuff. Gives you a familiar that can merge into your flesh. You also get some various tattoos around your body. Admittedly, it's supposed to be based in Varizia. Could go anywhere, depending on how things go. Maybe a Varizian married into our family line at some point in the past. All of these, I'm just not a huge fan of. Crossblooded is my favorite. However, the biggest nerf they have is whenever they learn new spells, they have one spell level known at each spell level. And they also take penalty will save. So, not only are they a full level, or half a level behind in terms of their spell knowledge, so instead of gaining new spells at second level, they gain access to them at, or instead of third, they gain access to them at fourth, but you lose that one spell you have. So instead of getting it at fourth, you get it at fifth. Which means you're right now 2 levels behind, or one full spell level behind, in terms of learning your new magic. That's one of the reasons why Sorcerer is so often a dip, because one level can get you a really good cross-butted class, and you don't have to worry too much about spells known. And it functions for most all magics. Sorcerer needs help. I would probably have upped this a little bit, moved all the Bloodline spells one level sooner, and that's it. That's all you need. Get a little bit of extra spells known when you first get access to a new tier of magic, and get your Bloodline spells when you first get access to that new tier of magic. Or vice versa. If you give them access to their Bloodline spell right when they get access to their new magic, you don't have to give them access to their new spell level. But when that archetype just basically is the same as skipping a level, it becomes really, really rough. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Feel free to follow links down below if you want to see some of my content, and I will see you all next time.